Hi, I'm Mayor Margaret Quirk, host of Building Georgina. We're here at one of our roads operations yards, and we're going to be talking today about road capital projects, road operations. So stay tuned, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on Building Georgina on Rogers TV. Welcome back. I'm Mayor Margaret Quirk, and this is Building Georgina. And today I'm joined with Mike Voss, who's the Director of Operations and Infrastructure. Welcome, Mike.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we're here at one of your yards. This is the yard in Belhaven that many people are familiar with. Tell us what happens here and what happens in those other yards that you have.
Sure thing. In Belhaven, we run our fleet operations, where we maintain and repair all of our different various assets and pieces of equipment. And the town fleet operations manages 1,700 pieces of equipment and licensed vehicles. We have two other operational yards, one in Egypt and one on Civic Center Road. On Civic Center Road runs our water and wastewater operations. That's naturally what manages all of our water and wastewater operations throughout town, including, freshwater, hydrants, testing, all those types of things, as well as sanitary collection. And in Egypt runs our road operations. And on road operations, we manage forestry, of course, our roads and sidewalks, as well as stormwater management.
Those are big areas, a lot of assets, a lot of roads. How many kilometers of roads do you actually maintain? Ditches, culverts, all that?
Yeah, so we're approaching about 350 two-lane kilometers that we manage within the town, consisting of over 500 kilometers of ditches, as there's ditches in some of the rural areas as well as along the lake shore. We have over 7,500 entrance culverts, a number of bridges, of course, and structural culverts that manage the stormwater. So it's a very complex and complicated environment to manage for sure.
Yeah, it's a lot of assets. When we're standing right beside this van that says report a problem, can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, it's one of the many methods that we encourage our residents to not only download the Recycle Coach app, but also use that application to report various problems within the town. That could be from a pothole, garbage collection, litter, animal on the roadway, any of those types of things. We encourage residents to either phone Service Georgina or use the application to report a problem.
So you do more than just the operations department of roads. What else do you manage?
Yeah, managing assets is a complex process. We have an asset management division that identifies our inventory, conditionally assesses our inventory, and plans our future capital works as well as budgets. And then we have capital project delivery, which is what we're excited to talk a little bit more in depth about today, which is delivering all of our major capital. So that could be anything from roads rehabilitation, stormwater management rehabilitation, even shoreline works we do, as well as a number of other things related to water and wastewater, including water main renewal and pumping station rehabilitation.
You got your hands in many areas around the town.
All over.
And I know I get asked a lot, and members of council get asked about projects on particular roads. We're going to head inside, but there is something that you have that's a road construction map, and so we'll get some more details, but maybe if everybody wants to follow us inside, we'll show the map and people can understand a little bit more about where they can look for details of what might be happening on their street or in their neighborhood. So let's go inside and check that out.
Absolutely, let's do it.
So we're here in front of the construction map. Now, it's divided into the different boards. It has a legend there that tells the different projects. Not all of these are yours, because there's some recreation projects that are listed on here.
Correct.
But maybe tell us a bit about, if you zoom in, you can see some of the various projects. So if we zoom in on an area that's got some stormwater ditching projects, if you look up in the Virginia area. So residents can go online and they can pull up the map and they can see what's happening on their street or in their neighborhood. So maybe tell us, what does that show, the storm ditching? What does that mean?
Sure thing, Margaret. So yeah, we're excited to upgrade the map this year to include a number of different asset categories, as you mentioned. Last year we tried this and we just had roads on there in the roads rehab program. So this year is definitely expanded for the better. So what you see on the map here is you have, like you mentioned, a variety of different assets. So in this particular area, you can see that there's one street light that has to be rehabilitated.
Right there.
Yeah, there's a number of road repairs. So
you see all the purple are the road repairs.
That's right. So as we go through the roads, you can see individually click on
the
each
actual
one of
road,
these,
and you can see what the project is.
That's right. It will identify what's happening there. So in this particular case on this road, there's a route and seal program that will be happening in 2024. Now as I exit out of this program here, you can see to the north there's some stormwater work. So there's
the green. The green areas up here too.
Yeah, exactly. So we have a green and orange kind of hash, and what that indicates is that there's some storm ditch and storm culvert work happening within the Virginia area. And as I mentioned before, as you click on each one of these, you'll see that in this general area for the storm ditches, there's some design work occurring. So it says stormwater design. As we look over here on Virginia Boulevard, and you click on one of these areas, you'll see it's stormwater reconstruction, and that's what some of the residents have been experiencing this past spring as we've gone into a construction program on Virginia Boulevard.
So when it says design, it means you're working on getting the design ready. There's no construction there this year, but where it actually says reconstruction, that's the roads that are going to have the work done on them this year.
That's right, and it's important that the residents that are impacted by both the design and construction are aware of the projects, because during the design phase, you'll have a number of different sub-consultants, such as those that are looking at different elevations. You'll have locators that come through, so there will be minor impacts. It won't be driveway interruptions, but there will be people and activity around, so it's important that residents are able to understand what work's happening in their area.
Right, so this is one way of communicating out the projects that are happening. Maybe tell us some of the other ways that we let residents know. In some cases they're involved with the design work, consultation. Other times it's information packages dropped off in their mailboxes or mailers sent out to them. But we want to make sure people understand what's happening.
Absolutely. There's a variety of different ways that we communicate with residents. On those larger scale projects, we use public information centers, and that's where we have staff, representatives, as well as consultants that actually host an array of bulletin boards, and residents can come in and engage with those that are dealing with the actual project. On smaller projects that are sometimes just either preservation or rehabilitation projects, like you said, we'll do direct mailers, we'll do door hangers, localized signage, as well. We use the website quite actively through both the map that you see on the screen here, but also on the individual content pieces. So in some cases throughout this map, you'll see that there'll be links directly back to content web pages, and that's so it shows like you can get a bit more details in granularity about maybe there was an environmental assessment that was completed prior to a project.
That at different times.
That's right. And so if I can show you here on the map, if we scale out to Old Shiloh, which is an area of interest, and I click on this, you'll see that you can click on and see some more information. What that does for you is it brings it to the town website where it shows the project file. So we've done a municipal class environmental assessment most recently that's closed this past May, and this just again shows you a bit more granular detail about why a project occurs and where it's coming from.
Good. Well, let's get into talking about some of the projects. I think I saw Adam in the office here, so maybe let's go talk to him about some of the current projects that we are going to be working on.
Sounds great.
See him. We've come back outside, and I'm joined now with Adam McCroth, and you're the project manager for capital delivery with the road project. So welcome.
That's right. Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, my name's Adam McCroth. I'm the project manager for our roads repair program with our capital delivery group.
Great. I know I get asked all the time, Margaret, why isn't my road being repaired? It's got all these potholes. When is my road going to be done?
Sure.
How do we evaluate what roads should get done and what treatments they need to bring that road back up?
Yeah, great question. So the Town of Georgina has a pretty comprehensive asset management plan. As part of that plan, we like to do condition assessments and constant evaluations of all of our road assets. And through that condition assessment, we're able to determine and establish a cost-effective approach to repair and maintain all of our roads within our road network.
So the idea is to keep our good roads good. So we're doing preventative maintenance. Maybe tell us a little bit about some of those preventative maintenance methods that people will see out in the community.
Yeah, absolutely. So we like to start off with the less complex preventative maintenance, which can include route and seal.
Now, what is that? People ask me, what are these spider marks on my road?
Yeah,
what is
absolutely. So route and seal is it's quite literally routing and sealing. So we do crack repairs on existing roads, roads that are already in a good condition. So we like to get in there before it's too late and do preventative maintenance. So we route those cracks, we fill them up with rubberized sealant.
So the idea is so the water doesn't get in.
Exactly.
And create bigger cracks and bigger problems.
That's
so a road
right.
may look good and people say, what are you doing this work
That's
on
right.
it? It looks good. That's why we're doing it. We want to make it continue to look good and be good.
Exactly. We have what's called deterioration factors, and we like to focus on drainage as one of the main deterioration factors. If too much water gets into a road and penetrates, that will affect the lifespan of that road.
So what else do we do? I see some of the resurfacing treatments that are done as well.
That's right. So beyond a route and seal, some of the common practices you'll see here, some of the common rehabilitation methods are microsurfacing, and we do partial depth removal and resurfacing as well. And then we get into a more comprehensive full depth pulverization and repair. So with the microsurfacing, we're essentially addressing the surface course of that asphalt and preventing further moisture from getting in the roads, versus a shave and pave or a partial depth removal and resurface would focus more on the initial depth of the top course asphalt to that road, where the base is already, like you said, in a good state.
So we really want to make sure that we're doing the right method on the road at the right time to bring that road back up to a quality standard.
That's right. Through condition assessments and constant evaluation, we can determine the best approach to each road.
Thanks for all that great information, Adam.
Yeah, thank you very much.
No problem. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in a few minutes here on Building Georgina on Rogers TV. Well, welcome back. I'm Mayor Margaret Quirk, and this is Building Georgina. Today, we're talking about road reconstruction and road capital projects. And I have Adam LaCroix. He's a project manager here in the town for various road projects. Before the break, we were talking about different preventative maintenance treatments to keep good roads good. Yeah. And we were talking about microsurfacing. Maybe tell us a little bit more about where people can see that happening in their communities.
Sure. So microsurfacing, just to clarify, it's a preventative intervention method that we use to, again, like you said, keep good roads good. So we want to apply a 2-coat application to the road surface, which would then prolong the lifespan of that road. Some of the common roads you'll see that in is, actually just recently in Simcoe Landing, we performed some microsurfacing work. Yeah. So we perform 2-coat application to that road. That kind of prevents that the road from taking on additional moisture, like we talked about. And another location would be Lake Drive, most recently in Jackson's Point area there, just west of Dalton Road. And then beyond microsurfacing, it goes into various other levels.
So if a road needs more than microsurfacing, what's the next stage?
Yeah, so if a road is starting to show additional signs of deterioration or surface distress, we tend to introduce the next complexity of intervention, which would be partial depth removal and resurface. That's where we actually mill the surface of that road.
Oh, okay. So that's where you'll is a specialized machine that comes in and...
That's right. We get a grinder, sometimes a pulverizer, depending on the condition of that road. We remove the initial surface layer of that road, and we actually repave it.
So it happens all in one operation. That machine will do the same
That's right. Well, typically it could be a multi-day process, but yes, you're correct. The convoy is essentially a grinding machine or a pulverizer. It's grinding and removing the surface of that road, and then it's followed by a paving crew that would come in and resurface that road. And again, like you said,
Okay.
it's the base of that road is in great shape, so we don't want to affect the base of that road. We just want to remove that distressed surface and then recap it.
So where are we doing that type of work in the town this year?
There's a lot of that work going on. It's one of our more common intervention methods. You'll see it up and down Lake Drive East this summer. We have a couple isolated subdivision pockets up in Jackson's Point area, like Rue and Sunnydale.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you can see where we recently did some Poly B replacement work in the Keswick area on Hollywood, Tampa. You'll see some there too.
So Adam, once a road is beyond the preventative maintenance, the microsurfacing, the mill and shave, and the repaving that you've described, what happens then?
That's a great question. We do get that question a lot. So if a road is beyond its expected life and it's no longer suitable for an intervention method such as a shave and pave or microservice, we would consider that a reconstruction. That's a little bit more in depth. It looks at the road as a whole and incorporates a number of other factors: drainage, base conditions, investigations, sometimes consulting.
Yeah, that takes a major chunk of time to do, because it's the whole road. It's not just the top level and resurfacing and reusing what's there. So it's a bigger project.
Longer planning and a little bit further outside the scope of our road repair program.
Okay, so thank you very much, Adam. Great
thank you very much.
So now we're going to talk to Patrick. He's a senior project manager here at the town, and we're going to talk about the major reconstruction projects when roads have reached that end of life and need a major intervention and a major reconstruction. So I'm joined now with Patrick, who's a senior project manager with Capital Delivery in the Roads Division. Maybe, Patrick, tell us a little bit about what your role is, and when a road has ended its life, what do we do?
Sure. So the first thing we do if we have a road that's a candidate for full reconstruction, we have to start planning. And what do we have to do? We have to get a cost estimate. We have to get a business case as to why we have to reconstruct this road to council, get some approvals from them, and then put out a request for proposal out on the street for an engineering firm to help us design this brand new road.
So the design phase, are the public involved with that, or when do they hear about that their road's going to be reconstructed?
They'll typically hear about it when we have to design the road. At that point, they don't have much input at this point. Later on, they will have input when we're going to be under construction.
Under construction. So when you say full reconstruction, what does that really mean? Are you digging up the entire road down to the base? Maybe tell us a little bit about what that full reconstruction means and looks like.
Sure. So when we have a full reconstruction, we have the engineers who we've hired on board, and they're going to do a couple studies for us. They're going to do some geotechnical, where they have to do some boreholes into the ground to figure out how the soil is compacted and if we need to do any kind of extra remediation for that soil before we put back the asphalt.
Because you want to make sure you've got a good solid base before you put the road back on top of it.
Exactly. It's like your house foundation. You have to have an amazing foundation to build the house on top. So it's about the same thing. We have a good foundation for a road, and then we put the asphalt on top, and it's like the roof over everything.
The icing on the cake.
Icing on the cake, yes.
So this all takes time too. This doesn't happen, quickly. So maybe give us sort of a timeline of when you've done that business case to council and we've approved that business case, how long does it take before technically, there's shovels in the ground?
Well, before there's boots on the ground, then we have to go out and get an RFP, which is a request for proposal, and that is to hire an engineering consulting firm to help design the whole road reconstruction, and that typically takes about a year's time. And then after that, we have drawings, we have specifications for a contractor to take on that package and then work on the road. And that also takes about 1 year process to get that going as well.
And you know that residents are always asking about, getting their road redone and reconstructed. When do they get involved in the process of, because sometimes it's not as easy to fix a road as it might be in some cases, because sometimes there might be, the road was built on some private property, or it needs some other work done or design work. When does the public get a chance to say, hey, we want to give our feelings about how we want to see our road?
Yeah, so I know that we have a project in Eudora, and that is typically the time in design phase when we'll ask residents to bring in their input, and then we can put that part of the design before it goes out to construction.
Yeah, so we try to get that input. Not every project, because not every project is needing to get public input, but certainly like the Eudora roads, we want to make sure that the residents are aware of what's happening and get their input to make sure that it's the best end product that we can get.
Yeah,
So.
we want to make the residents happy, and we want to make sure that the roads are going to be functional for a very long time as well.
Thank you very much, Patrick, for the information. I'm going to talk again with Mike Voss, the Director of Infrastructure and Operations, and we're going to find out a bit more about some of the other capital projects and budgets. I've got Mike Voss back with me to talk about the funding and the budget. And that's always, where the rubber hits the road. How much does everything cost?
Yeah.
We're standing beside some pretty expensive equipment, but we'll talk more about the general budget. How much is the budget for the roads part of your division?
Yeah, so annually our roads program has a budget of, in 2024, $4.5 million. And
So what does that all cover? Is that all the road work that we've been talking about? These microsurfacing, the pave and shave, and all those major reconstruction projects?
Yeah, it covers everything. So everything from our design projects and investigation work and planning, all the way through to project delivery, whether it's preservation, interventions, and or full construction.
So that $4.5 million, we obviously need to be spending more than that. How are we trying to be able to do that?
Yeah, you mentioned we need to be spending more. I mean, just a little bit of information. Our total asset value for roads is $700 million.
Wow.
Yeah, and with the growth expected in Georgina, we can probably see another $100 million worth of roads in the next couple of years. So it's definitely important for our staff to properly evaluate and plan for the reconstructions and the interventions that we are doing through the pavement management system.
Yeah, so keeping those good roads good is key, because obviously we don't have $700 million
That's right.
sitting in the bank to redo everything all at once. But what should we be spending, and how are we planning for those 10-year capital projects that we know we're going to need to be doing?
Yeah, in terms of our planning, Council's been very supportive of the pavement management system and has allocated an additional $500,000 compounding each year. So that's $4.5 million this year. We can expect $5 million next year and $5.5 following that into the future. Now that's really going to support the long-term goals of our council and our strategic plan in terms of keeping those good roads good and getting our what's called pavement condition index to level off at a level around 70. That's the ultimate goal.
So what are the sources of the funding? Certainly tax levy, but we do get some other funding sources.
Yep, so we reserve contributions from the tax levy, as you mentioned, as well as we do get some provincial grants like OCIF and that type of thing, which support the roads programs. Although we can't rely upon grant funding, it is important to recognize that there are other sources.
There are other sources. The old gas tax is what
right, yep.
It's been renamed, but we need to make sure that we're spending those dollars wisely, and that's where the efficiency comes in terms of selecting the roads that need to be done
Yep.
when they need to be done, and to boost up their life cycle.
Yeah, we need to make sure that we're doing the right intervention, preservation, or reconstruction at the right time in its life cycle, and with the right grouping and pairing of projects. That's an important piece of what our asset management group does, is make sure that our projects are coordinated. So if we're doing underground works, we're not, we hadn't resurfaced the road the year prior. We're making sure that everything's coordinated in such a way, and then that's really how we benefit from some of these efficiencies within the department.
And you want to make sure that if you're reconstructing the road, you're looking at the drainage, you're looking at all the elements within that road base.
Yeah, in a full reconstruction, that's one of the key pieces, is when we find that the underlying base is not suitable for a refreshed road surface, we have to go down and replace the granulars as well.
Now, a couple projects that we haven't talked about, one in particular is the Pefferlaw Dam. Maybe tell us a little bit about what people are going to see happening out in Pefferlaw this year.
Yeah, this summer we're excited to close out the detailed design. The tender could be on the market as we speak, and we're looking for construction to begin begin and end in 2024 this fall. So that's a rehabilitation project. So really, you'll see a lot of concrete work and some shoreline work, as well as some earthworks on the east side of the dam.
That'll be great, because I know that's been a project that the residents out there have really been wanting to see desperately, to see that Pefferlaw Dam rehabilitated
Yep.
and remain where it is, and add some other amenities perhaps in the park as well. So thank you very much, Mike, for everything and for the discussion about the roads operation.
Thanks for having me.
So this has been Building Georgina. I'm Mayor Margaret Quirk. It's been a great opportunity to learn more about the road projects here in the town of Georgina. I'm Mayor Margaret Quirk. This has been Building Georgina on Rogers TV.